and the bustling port city of Cape Town, South Africa, where the Atlantic Ocean crashes against the rugged coastline and Table Mountain stands sentinel over the landscape. Tales of the sea are as plentiful as the waves. Among these tales, one story has captivated the imaginations of sailors and landlubbers alike, the mysterious vanishing of Captain Van Hunks. Captain Hendrik Van Hunks was a seasoned mariner, known far and wide for his daring exploits and uncanny knack for navigating treacherous waters. With a thick beard that reached his chest, weathered skin etched with the lines of countless adventures, and eyes that gleamed with a mix of wisdom and mischief, Van Hunks was a living legend. His ship, the Sea Serpent, was as infamous as its captain, a sturdy vessel that had seen its share of battles and storms. On a foggy morning in the late summer of 1782, the Sea Serpent set sail from Cape Town on what was meant to be a routine journey to the East Indies. The crew, a hardy mix of seasoned sailors and eager newcomers, were in high spirits as they left the safety of the harbor and ventured into the open sea. Van Hunks, always at the helm, gazed at the horizon with a sense of anticipation, unaware that this voyage would be his last. Days turned into weeks as the Sea Serpent sliced through the waves, its sails billowing in the wind. The crew settled into their routines, navigating by the stars and weathering the occasional storm. Van Hunks, ever the vigilant captain, spent his nights in his cabin poring over maps and charts, plotting their course with meticulous precision. One fateful evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the sky turned a deep shade of crimson, a strange fog began to roll in from the sea. It was unlike any fog the crew had ever seen, thick and swirling, with an eerie luminescence that seemed to pulse and shimmer. Van Hunks stood on the deck, his brow furrowed in concern as he watched the fog envelop the ship. "All hands on deck," he bellowed, his voice cutting through the murky air. "Stay sharp and keep a lookout. This fog is unnatural." The crew sprang into action, their movements brisk and efficient. Lanterns were lit, casting a warm glow that barely penetrated the thick fog. As the night wore on, an unsettling silence fell over the ship, broken only by the occasional creak of wood and the distant cry of seabirds. It was during this tense and foreboding night that strange things began to happen. Objects went missing, tools and supplies vanished without a trace, and eerie whispers echoed through the fog. The crew, normally a sturdy and unflappable bunch, began to feel the creeping tendrils of fear. Van Hunks remained resolute, though he couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. He paced the deck, his keen eyes scanning the fog for any sign of danger. It was then that he noticed a figure standing at the bow of the ship, a tall, shadowy figure that seemed to materialize out of the mist. "Who's there?" Van Hunks demanded, striding forward with his hand on the hilt of his cutlass. The figure turned slowly, and as the lantern light flickered across its face, Van Hunks felt a chill run down his spine. It was a man, dressed in dark, tattered clothing, with eyes that glowed a spectral blue. The stranger's presence was both mesmerizing and terrifying, an otherworldly aura that seemed to bend the very air around him. "Captain Van Hunks," the stranger intoned, his voice a low, melodic whisper. "I've been expecting you." "Who are you?" Van Hunks demanded, though his voice wavered slightly. "And what do you want with my ship?" The stranger smiled, a cold and unsettling expression. "I am but a messenger, sent to deliver a warning. The seas you navigate are not as they seem. Forces beyond your comprehension are at play, and your fate hangs in the balance." Van Hunks narrowed his eyes, his grip on his cutlass tightening. "What nonsense is this? Speak plainly, or I'll have you thrown overboard." The stranger's smile widened, and he took a step closer. "There is a curse upon these waters, Captain. A curse that has claimed many lives before you. Beware the fog, for it is the harbinger of doom. Turn back now, while you still can." With that, the stranger began to fade, his form dissolving into the swirling mist. Van Hunks reached out to grab him, but his hand passed through empty air. The captain stood there for a moment, staring at the spot where the stranger had stood, his mind racing with questions. What had just happened? Who was that man, and how had he known Van Hunks' name? And what was this curse he spoke of? Determined to get to the bottom of the mystery, Van Hunks called a meeting with his officers. They gathered in the dimly lit cabin, the flickering lantern casting shadows on their worried faces. "Men," Van Hunks began, his voice steady and authoritative. "We have encountered something strange in this fog. A stranger came aboard and spoke of a curse upon these waters. I don't know what to make of it, but we must remain vigilant. Double the watch and keep a sharp eye out for anything unusual." The officers nodded, their expressions grim. They knew better than to question their captain's orders, especially in such uncertain circumstances. As the days passed, the fog showed no signs of lifting. The crew grew increasingly uneasy, their nerves frayed by the constant sense of being watched. Strange occurrences continued to plague the ship, phantom footsteps echoed through the corridors, ghostly apparitions appeared and vanished, and the eerie whispers grew louder. One night, as Van Hunks stood watch on the deck, he noticed a flickering light in the distance. It was faint, but unmistakable, a beacon of hope in the oppressive darkness. Without hesitation, he ordered the ship to change course and head towards the light. As they drew closer, the source of the light became clear. It was a small island, shrouded in mist, with a solitary lighthouse standing tall and resolute. The lighthouse's beam cut through the fog, guiding the sea serpent safely to shore. Van Hunks and a small group of men disembarked, their boots crunching on the rocky beach. They made their way towards the lighthouse, its light casting long shadows on the ground. As they approached, the door creaked open, and an old man stepped out to greet them. "Welcome, travelers," the old man said, his voice raspy and tired. "I am the keeper of this lighthouse. What brings you to these cursed shores?" Van Hunks stepped forward, his expression serious. "We seek answers, old man. We have been beset by strange occurrences and warnings of a curse upon these waters. Do you know anything about this?" The old man nodded slowly, his eyes filled with a mixture of sadness and fear. I know of the curse. It has plagued these waters for centuries. Many ships have vanished without a trace, their crews lost to the fog. It is said that the curse was placed by the lightning bird, a powerful and vengeful spirit of the sea." Van Hunks listened intently, his mind racing with possibilities. What can be done to lift this curse? The old man sighed deeply. "To lift the curse, you must find the lightning bird's lair and retrieve the heart of the storm, a sacred artifact that holds the key to breaking the spell. But be warned, the journey will be perilous, and the lightning bird will not give up its treasure easily." Van Hunks nodded, his resolve firm. "Thank you, old man. We will set out at first light." The next morning, the sea serpent sailed away from the island, its course set for the lightning bird's lair. The crew, though apprehensive, were determined to see the journey through. They knew that their lives depended on it. As they ventured further into the unknown, the waters grew increasingly turbulent. Storm clouds gathered on the horizon, and the wind howled with a ferocity that seemed almost unnatural. Lightning flashed across the sky, illuminating the churning waves. On the third day of their journey, they spotted a rocky outcrop rising from the sea, a jagged, forbidding island that matched the old man's description of the lightning bird's lair. The crew prepared for the landing, their faces set with grim determination. Van Hunks led a small party ashore, their boots sinking into the wet sand. They made their way inland, the island's dense vegetation providing both cover and obstacles. The air was thick with the scent of salt and decay, and the oppressive sense of being watched returned with full force. After hours of trudging through the underbrush, they reached the mouth of a dark cave. Van Hunks drew his cutlass, the blade gleaming in the dim light. He turned to his men, their faces a mix of fear and determination. "This is it," he said, his voice steady. "Stay close and stay alert. We don't know what lies ahead." With that, they entered the cave, the darkness swallowing them whole. The air was cool and damp, the only sound the steady drip of water echoing off the stone walls. As they ventured deeper, the cave widened into a vast chamber, its ceiling lost in shadow. In the center of the chamber, illuminated by an eerie, bluish glow, stood a massive stone pedestal. Atop the pedestal rested a crystalline heart, its surface pulsating with an inner light, the heart of the storm. Van Hunks approached the pedestal, his breath catching in his throat. The heart of the storm was mesmerizing, its light casting eerie shadows on the chamber walls. He reached out, his hand trembling slightly, and grasped the crystal. The moment his fingers touched its surface, a surge of energy coursed through him, and the chamber was filled with a deafening roar. The lightning bird appeared, its eyes glowing with a fierce intensity. "You have found the heart of the storm," it intoned. "But the true test begins now." Before Van Hunks could react, the ground beneath him shifted, and the chamber began to tremble. The walls closed in, and the air grew thick with an oppressive force. The lightning bird spread its wings, and a powerful gust of wind knocked Van Hunks off his feet. He scrambled to his knees, clutching the heart of the storm, and looked up to see the creature advancing toward him. "Prove your worth," the lightning bird commanded, its voice echoing through the chamber. "Show me that you are worthy of wielding such power." Van Hunks rose to his feet, his resolve hardening. He tightened his grip on the crystal and met the lightning bird's gaze. "I will not be cowed by your tricks," he declared. "I am Captain Hendrik Van Hunks, and I fear nothing." With those words, Van Hunks drew his cutlass and charged at the lightning bird. The creature responded with a blast of lightning, but Van Hunks dodged it, his movements swift and precise. He swung his cutlass, but the lightning bird evaded the attack, its wings a blur of motion. The chamber was filled with the clash of steel and the crackle of lightning as Van Hunks and the lightning bird battled fiercely. Despite the overwhelming odds, Van Hunks fought with the determination of a man with everything to lose. He ducked and weaved, striking out with his cutlass whenever he saw an opening. As the battle raged on, Van Hunks noticed something strange. The heart of the storm, still clutched in his hand, seemed to pulse in time with his heartbeat. He felt a connection to the crystal, a sense of power and purpose that emboldened him. With renewed vigor, he pressed the attack, driving the lightning bird back. Finally, with one last, desperate lunge, Van Hunks plunged his cutlass into the heart of the lightning bird. The creature let out a deafening screech, and its form began to dissolve into a swirling vortex of light and energy. The chamber shook violently, and the walls began to crumble. Van Hunks shielded his eyes from the blinding light, and when he looked again, the lightning bird was gone. In its place stood a figure, a man dressed in dark, tattered clothing, with eyes that glowed a spectral blue. It was the stranger from the ship. "You have proven yourself worthy, Captain Van Hunks," the stranger said, his voice a low, melodic whisper. "The curse is lifted." With those words, the stranger began to fade, his form dissolving into the air. Van Hunks stood there, panting and covered in sweat, the heart of the storm still glowing in his hand. He felt a sense of relief and triumph wash over him. Suddenly, the chamber was filled with a blinding light, and Van Hunks felt himself being pulled upward, as if by an invisible force. He closed his eyes, the world spinning around him, and when he opened them again, he found himself back on the deck of the Sea Serpent. The fog had lifted, and the sky was clear and bright. The crew, who had been anxiously waiting, erupted into cheers at the sight of their captain. Van Hunks looked down at the heart of the storm in his hand and felt a deep sense of accomplishment. "Set sail for home," he ordered, his voice steady and resolute. "We've lifted the curse, and it's time to return to Cape Town." As the Sea Serpent sailed back to Cape Town, Van Hunks reflected on the events of the past weeks. The lightning bird's curse had tested him in ways he had never imagined, but he had emerged victorious. He knew that the story of his adventure would become legend, a tale of bravery and determination that would be told for generations to come. When the Sea Serpent finally docked in Cape Town, the crew disembarked to a hero's welcome. The townspeople had heard of their captain's daring exploits and gathered to celebrate his return. Van Hunks, ever the humble mariner, accepted their praise with a nod and a smile, knowing that the true reward was the knowledge that he had lifted the curse and ensured the safety of his people. Years later, the legend of Captain Van Hunks and the lightning bird's curse continued to inspire sailors and adventurers alike. His name became synonymous with bravery and resilience, a symbol of the human spirit's capacity to overcome even the greatest of challenges. The heart of the storm, now a treasured relic, was displayed in a place of honor, a reminder of the power and determination of a single man to defy the odds and triumph over darkness. And so, the tale of Captain Van Hunks and his vanishing became not just a story of mystery and adventure, but a testament to the enduring power of courage and the indomitable will of the human spirit. Thank you for joining us on this thrilling adventure of the vanishing of Captain Van Hunks. If you enjoyed this story and want to dive into more captivating tales and mysterious legends, please hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content. Your support means the world to us and helps us bring more stories to life. Stay curious, stay adventurous, and we'll see you in the next episode.